So now that you've learned about the molecular evidence that points to evolution, and all the different physical pieces of evidence in different fields of science that point to evolution, we're going to conclude this unit on diversity and independence of life and evolution with modern examples of evolution. As we saw in previous lessons, we were introduced to a British guy named Charles Darwin. He was a scientist who sailed all over the world. Using the trade winds, he set sail from Britain all the way down the coast of Africa and around South America until he ended up on an archipelago of islands called the Galapagos Islands off the shore of Ecuador. On these islands, he noticed that there were all sorts of different types of finches that each had their own little niche on these islands. They all diverged from a single common ancestor, and according to the selective pressures, such as food in this instance, they developed different homologous traits, such as their beaks, that allowed them to digest or eat each of the different food sources on the different islands. So based on his observations, he was able to determine that these single species of finches diverged into many different types of birds. Birds of all different types of coloration and sizes of beaks diverged from a single species of finch. This explanation shows us that populations change over many generations. We call this gradualism, or slow and steady changes over long periods of time. The cladogram down at the bottom shows us that time originates at the bottom of the graph and goes towards the top of this diagram, starting with the common ancestor, the ancestral species, and diverging into so many different types and shapes and sizes. The one on the right shows us that this unfortunate species did not thrive in the environment that it was given, and therefore it went extinct. Another modern example of evolution is African elephants. Not too long ago, scientists believed that there were only 2 species of elephants that existed on the planet today. They originated from one species and diverged into 2 distinct species. The one on the top is the Asian elephant, and the one on the bottom is the African elephant. But by studying the molecular evidence, comparative biochemistry, scientists have been able to determine that the African elephant is actually 2 elephant species. The one on the left is the African elephant of the grasslands, and the one on the right is the African elephant of the forests. So by analyzing the molecular differences within the biochemistry, the DNA and the proteins of these organisms, we can trace back, using the constant rate of mutation, to how long ago these elephant species diverged from each other.